Hello travelers and welcome to the Tabletop Inn. Please join me at the tavern table while I do a quick unboxing of the Dice Towers Essentials edition of Aquatica. Aquatica is a 1 to 4 player game designed by Ivan Tuzovsky and was illustrated by these lovely people, all of which I'm not going to try to say their names because I don't want to butcher them up, but they're all right here. Why don't we go ahead and bust the box open and see what it's like. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this open. I've got the wrap all taken off, so I don't have to worry about that. I want to talk about the artwork on this though. It looks so good. I mean, it's so blue. I mean, it's the ocean, so it better be mainly blue, but it's just, my favorite color is blue. So whenever a box is like this, it's amazing. The ship looks really, really good. It's got the little light on the front because it's nighttime. Got this big, massive little Cthulhu-looking creature on the front. Got the shipwreck on the bottom. It looks great. This was published by Arcane Wonders, by the way. Go ahead and get this slid open. Looking on the side here. Stop the glare there. Really nice. I'm loving that. There's that side there. A little bit of a get the glare stopping here. There we go. Let's see. Don't think these are the same on these side. No, they're not. They're different. Very cool. I'm liking the unique. It is all the way across the box. Unique sides. That's really cool. Go ahead and place the lid off to the side. Here it looks like we're going to have the main board here. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. Here we've got the rule book for Aquatica. Oof. That's a thick one right there. Good night. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and bust these out soon. It looks like there's quite a few fairly large pictures in here, though, so not really concerned about it. Just long because there are quite a lot of pictures in there, so not worried there. Here, looks like these are punch outs for the other, what are they called? Things you're working towards, goals, excuse me, double-sided goal tokens that can change up the how the game ends. We'll take a look at that in a moment in more detail. And here, probably one of the things that I'm most excited for, we've got our double-layered player boards. Looks like they're all the same, which is okay. Or I said double-sided, double-layered, I mean, excuse me. So we'll get a little bit of an up-close look at these boards here. Very nice. So they are double layered because the idea of the game is you're going to take these cards here, we'll take a look at them in a moment, and you'll be sliding them up into the board based on what you're trying to do. Again, when we get the cards open, we'll take a more look at that in a moment. So I'm really excited to really see how this mechanic works out. So let's go ahead and check these out. We've got all the mantas that you need for the game already. So there's a huge plus for me. I'm sure if you've seen my other videos, you'll know what it is. The insert in this, phenomenal. There's even extra spaces because there's a, I believe that's for the expansion. They've got a space for that too. I'm assuming that's what this is for, so that's really, really nice. So and you got the area for the mantas. You can get a little manta cutout right here. That's really cool. So let's go ahead and bust out a couple of these mantas here. I'll bust out the blue, of course. Get these on our hands. Ooh. These are nice. Oh my goodness. Oh, they're so detailed. Wow. All right, let's see if I can do this here. Look at that. So this is a resting side, I believe. You can get all the little lines on the manta. And this side, it shows the bonus that it comes. This is a +1 coin, but look, it's got its little face on it. That's so cute. Look at that. Oh, there we go. That's a good one. Very awesome. I love it. They feel really nice too. They're not really heavy per se, but they still feel very high quality. I love it. So those are blue ones. I think they're all the colors have the same initial bonuses here, if I remember correctly. If not, I do apologize. Let's take a look at some of these purple ones here. One main gripe I've heard from the game is these purple ones, their symbols are kind of hard to see. And I could definitely see that, definitely on camera whenever they're on the table. You cannot, I mean, you can't see what these are either, but you would 100% not be able to see these. And even on the light, you know, when the light hits these just right, they are pretty hard to see. I kind of wish they were inlaid a little bit versus printed. That way, if someone wanted to, they could maybe paint over these. Let's see if we can get this up close and you can see. There it is. Still pretty hard to pick up on camera, too. So maybe not the greatest color choice. I mean, the purple is okay. I like purple, but they probably could have done with maybe a little bit of a brighter purple on that one. So still though, I mean, the same detail on these mantas as the other one. They're all the same. The mantas aren't unique aside from the bonuses that they give, but like the design is still the same. So we'll set those off to the side here. Set the player boards off to the side here for a moment. Now let's take a look at some of these cards. We'll look at the location cards last. Here we've got, I believe these are different character decks. So, oh, these are the king cards. So in the advanced variant, you'll shuffle these or draft these out and give these to each player, and one to each player. And they've got some unique abilities on them. Excuse me. Here we've got some. Let's see. Both of these look like character cards here, character decks. So same design on the back, I think for all of them, yep, because you'll be drawing these from decks. So very cool. Bust those out in a moment. And then a quick look at the location cards. These are the ones that are going to slide up into your player board. Very interesting designs on both. I want to go ahead and get all this plastic off of these, and then we'll come back and take a look at each deck individually. So I've got all the cards out of their plastic wrap. I'm going to go ahead and go through each stack one by one. Figured out what the difference is between all these stacks though, so we'll go over that now. These are the starting cards that you get as a starting deck. And every player has their own cards, and they're separated by a Matrona card. And then you can tell which ones are which by having their player symbols on the corner here. So you've got the orangish colored player here, the green player. You've got the orangish colored player. So this is more yellow, not orange. I'm basically colorblind. I'm more like color stupid, so don't mind me. There's the blue, I know that one. So you see these symbols are the same as the back of these mantas here. So you can tell which one's which and which cards you need. It's also basically just letting you know what cards you start the game with. So starting deck here, you've got the king cards here that are used again in the advanced variant. They're numbered 1 through 8. I believe this goes into tiebreaker too. Whoever has the lowest card of this breaks the tie. I believe to start off with, these are drawn randomly, but I think when me and my friends go to play it, we're going to do it as a draft style where we'll draw, we'll draw 3 or 2 each and just pick which one we want. So very nice. Love the artwork on the cards. Very nice. The cards feel really good too. They're not spot UV. They're not like textured or anything, but they still feel really nice. So king cards, starting deck. These are just random character cards. Nothing. I mean, they're very, very powerful, but they're not. Players don't get them. These will be in a deck on the board here. Again, great artwork on all of these. So very good. We won't go through every single one, but they're all very good. The last deck of cards here we have is the location cards, and my god, I've already flipped through some of the cards on here. The artwork is phenomenal. So we talked a little bit about what these cards are going to be doing in our player board. Let me see if we can pick one out that's a really good example. Here we go. These will be shuffled, so I'm not worried about putting them back in order. So if you notice here on the left side of the card, you'll see a series of bubbles. These bubbles, whatever one is showing on your player board, is the bonus action that you can take by exploiting the depth of this location. By exploiting, what I mean by that is you take your player board, and when you conquer these locations, you'll place them on your player board, and very gently, you'll place them until their top bubble is showing right there on the board. There's a little bit of an indent on the board, and you can kind of see right there. When you exploit a depth, you push this card further up to show that you've exploited it, and now the next icon is something you can use to exploit. You do that all the way until the card is pushed all the way to the top, in which case it's ready to score, and then you use a scoring action from one of those actions is also an action from from your card there. When you're ready to score, you just take it out, and then you place it in the this pile right here, and that's how you score points. The victory points are shown in the bottom left corner there. This one's worth 5. So very nice. Again, I love this mechanic of taking the cards and sliding them up into the player board. That feels really nice. I really didn't have any trouble doing it. Very nice. I'm not worried about really the cards getting nicked in any way as long as you're careful with them. And again, the artwork on these is just phenomenal. So I'll go through we'll probably be going through either a full playthrough with me and my friends, or I might do a solo playthrough, because this does have a solo variant, just to get an idea of the game. But I already have a pretty good idea of how the game plays. I've been sort of scouring over different playthroughs so I can learn how to play it. So when I get it, not only would I be able to do the unboxing, but I'd already have an idea of what's going on in the game. So let me go ahead and get everything boxed back up and out of the way, and we'll take a look at the main board. So here we've got the main board all set up. Along the bottom here, these are where the character cards are going to go, along with their cost. It goes from 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are all the costs of these characters that you're going to get. Here we've got the initial location cards, where these locations will be drawn from this deck over here. Up here you've got the scouting location, so there are some actions where you can scout these cards by pushing 4 of these up and discarding any extra ones. Now they cost 1 less power to beat instead of having to buy them. You can either get locations by either conquering them or buying them. And their conqueror cost was also shown at the top. We talked about that a little bit, I believe. If not, sorry about that. So scouting is an action you can do, and after you do that, you'll refill the location cards up. One of the end game triggers is when if the location deck runs out. I believe if the character deck runs out, that's also an in-game trigger. Excuse me. The last in-game trigger, which is the one that's probably going to happen the most often, but we'll see, are completing these objectives along the top here. So the game does come with 4 base objectives that are just printed on the board, but we did see those discs that came with the game that I have punched out already. These are basically other objectives that could add some variety to the game. So if you're wanting to change things up, you just put a disc down, cover up whatever's on the board, and now you have to go with that objective. Not sure exactly what the iconography means yet, but I'll figure it out. So the way it works is once you do have the requirement, to get one of these objectives, you take one of your trained mantas, which is your manta in your player color, and you can place them up there, and I believe you can do that at any time. So you want to do that quickly, but you don't want to do it too quickly, because once you put one of your trained mantas up there, they cannot be used anymore. They're there to stay. But the earlier you do it, the more points they are worth. In this case, they are worth 5, 3, 8, 5, and 3. Excuse me. 8 first, 5 for second, and then 3 for everything after that. So you want to do that quickly, but you don't want to do that too quickly. 1, because you don't want to get rid of your trained mantas. 2, you don't want to do that too quickly if you haven't scored a lot of location cards, because that wouldn't be beneficial for you either. You want to get a lot of those location cards so you can score even more points. Looking at the artwork on this, it's so great. I'm loving the little purples here and there. Blue and purple to me are probably the best combination. Let's see if we can get a close look at this board here. It is fantastic. You got the little ship up there, but without its light. Got all this down here. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera, but trust me, this board looks really, really good. You got a little jellyfish hiding behind that scout location there. Got a little creature of some sort right there. So very nice. The board's a little stiff, but I mean, that's probably to be expected with the new game. Doesn't quite sit flatly on the table yet. So, but I bet you this might actually be a pretty fresh printing of the game, because they've been out of stock for so long. So they just now came back in stock, and I tell you what, I grabbed that up real quick. Why don't I go ahead and get everything boxed back up, we'll sit back down, and I'll give you my quick final thoughts on the game so far. So this is a very quick unboxing of Aquatica. I gotta say, it's already got major marks in my book, markups in my book, for the insert. My goodness, everything fits in here perfectly. They've even got a spot for those bonus alternative objectives you can do. They've got a little area for them that they fit in perfectly. The mantas fit in perfectly. They've got individual slots for the decks. That was why there was 3 slots. There was the king deck, the character card, the starting hand, and then the regular character card deck. The slot for the location cards was also very, very nice. There's even a slot for the game board itself for it to fit inside the insert, along with the player boards. And I mean, the box closes tight. It's not bulging up at all. It's just great. So storage is an immediate plus for me. Every time if I ever hear a game designer say that they can't work out storage, I'm just going to refer to them to this. I know there's not a whole lot of components in this as compared to like La Granja or even Catan, but even so, I mean, Catan even made it work to a degree. So I mean, there's not a whole lot of excuse whenever someone skims some storage, aside from they're trying to save on money, in my own opinion. But it's never really a deal breaker for me if storage is bad, but it is a major plus because it does help with setup. And this one, the game is pretty simple enough to where setup is going to be a breeze, because you just have to deal out their cards, get everyone their mantas, and get the player board set up. After that, you just have to deal out the character cards and location cards, and you're ready to go. It's really not quick. And obviously explanation if you need it, but that's kind of a different beast as far as setup. I don't count that there. But again, I mean, it's going to be a super simple game. I think me and my friends are going to pick up on it quick. I think we're going to like it because there's going to be a lot of combos that you can do with the game. I mean, you can exploit one depth to get another depth to go. ready to go, so you can exploit that depth, and then you can use your mantas to flip them over so you get even more power, you get even more bonuses. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think the idea of the game is great. I think the artwork is fantastic. It looks really, really good. The components are great. The mantas are really, really good. I mean, that's another point I could say is they could have easily have had punch boards for all their mantas, but instead they've got the actual manta miniatures that are plastic, and they're just great. I love it when designers do that. The only punch outs in this game were those optional discs for the optional objectives. I mean, you don't even have to play with those, but it was just one row. There were 4 or 5 of them, and they're all double-sided. So that also just adds so much more variety to the game, because I mean, there's going to be a while before you play the same game again. You know, you're going to have to go through a lot of playthroughs before that's going to happen. Even then, even if you do have the same objectives, you may not get there the same way that you did the first time, because you're not going to have the same location cards. The location deck was huge. You know, so you're not going to have the same location cards. You might have the same character cards, because there were a few reprints in there that I saw. But I mean, I'm not really worried about that, because I think there's enough variety in this that you don't want to add just a thick deck of character cards as well, because you've got those location decks. So you want to have some sort of, you know, familiarity when you come back to a game, where you can look at it and be like, okay, I kind of know how I want to play this. So you're going into it with the idea and seeing if it's going to work or not. You know, it's not really like Lagrange, where to us you really can't go in with strategy. You just go in with whatever cards you draw and you form your strategy from there. And this, you can go in with an idea in mind of what you're looking for. But sometimes that may not work, because we may not go through the character deck before we empty out the location deck, or someone does all 4 objectives, and you may get unlucky and you never see your character come out of that deck. So while you can go into it with a strategy in mind, it's probably still best that you go into it with an open mind as well, so you're not just stuck into it and you're thinking, okay, I can't play this game because I'm so stuck in my strategy that I can't move. So there's enough variety in the game that I think it's going to be great, but there's enough familiarity that I think we'll be able to easily open it up and just play it just like we do with Viticulture. It's terrible to compare this to Viticulture, because I mean, Viticulture, there's a lot more going on than just this, components wise, rules wise, things like that. But eventually I think this is going to be one of those games where we can just bust it out. Fantastic Factories is a better comparison. We can just bust it out, get all the player pieces sorted out, and we're good to go. You know, we don't need any rules refresher, because it's simple. And I think this is going to be very close to being in that category of simple. But again, still very complex enough to keep our brains kind of thinking throughout the game. So I think I've rambled on enough, but I'm really looking forward to playing this game. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like to let me know. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Tabletop Inn, and we'll see you next time. Take care.